Valentine's Day month. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fresh Off the Set. I'm Elora Murray.
And I'm Sarah Jenkins.
We're so excited to be here with you today. We have an interview later on with a dating expert. So excited to hear about that. But it is
so much fun.
Valentine's Day, Sarah.
Yes, it's Valentine's season, which we love to celebrate around here.
We love. Honestly, this is my first Valentine's Day with a significant other.
I'm so excited for you.
I'm so excited. I'm getting married in March, so this will be my last Valentine's Day as an engaged woman.
As a fiance.
I'm very excited. But honestly, even though this is my first Valentine's Day with a significant other, I've been single all the Valentine's Days leading up to this point.
Yeah.
But I've always loved Valentine's Day.
You just love the holiday in general. You're because people fall into two camps. I feel like people really aren't fans and people are like, love the love of the season.
I do love the love of the season. Honestly, there's red and pink everywhere. Pink is my favorite color. There are adorable hearts everywhere. I even love down to being in elementary school and little kids handing out Valentines.
Oh, so cute. Why is it so cute?
It's just such a fun holiday to go up to someone and say, hey, I'm thinking of you. Here's a Valentine, or here's some chocolate.
I know, just to be thoughtful, and it's an excuse to just, let people know you care about them. And I feel like if there were ever a holiday, Elora, this is yours, because you are all about love and positivity, and she usually is going to have at least one piece of pink on if you run into her.
Much pink. So much pink. And Sarah, this is actually your first Valentine's Day in Utah.
It is. I'm so excited. My husband is from Utah originally, but we had kind of like bounced around, and so it's our first Utah here together, my first ever. I'm loving, I'm also like you, I'm a fan of Valentine's Day, but I love that it's an excuse to, because of the cold weather, kind of be cozy by the fire and have kind of all those cold, wintry activities, during Valentine's Day, because I've been in some warmer climates. So I think it's really fun. We're really enjoying planning what we're going to do. Do you guys know yet? Are you going to do something like Valentine's Day night?
We actually are going to Disneyland for Valentine's Day. But honestly, that's the perfect gift for me. And I know around Valentine's Day, people have a hard time thinking of gifts.
Yes.
I can think of gifts I don't want. Honestly, I knew this couple, and he sent her a potty humor card.
Oh, no.
And
no. Word to the wise men. I know everyone has a different sense of humor, but I think especially Valentine's Day, maybe not the time to drop the potty humor cards.
It was so funny. He gave her that, and I think it was a gift card to some place she didn't even want to eat. And he called and said, "Hey, did you get my gift?" And she was like, "No, I didn't." And he's like,
"No, I
did
not.
No, I sent it to you." And she's like, "I do not accept that as my gift."
No. Who is this woman? Because she's my hero. I love it. Preach, sister. I would do the same thing. I mean, I reject this gift. Come on. I mean,
I love it.
So many different options and things you can do. And it doesn't always have to be a physical gift. It can be an experience gift. I've heard of some duds as well. We had a family friend that, I think the woman was expecting, and let's be honest, a lot of times it really is about one of the two partners who kind of is more into the gifts. And so the wife is expecting something romantic, and she got a vacuum, and she was so disappointed. I mean, again, of all the times, maybe, I don't know when else would be appropriate.
I had to pull away from the mic because I was laughing so hard. So those are gifts and things what not to give.
Exactly.
What not to give. And Kari, coming up right now, Kari has interviewed a dating expert of things to do. So
I love it.
Let's hear that interview.
I'm Kari Hawker-Diaz, and I am so excited to introduce you to our podcast guest for the day. We thought, Valentine's Day is coming up, love's in the air, so we might as well talk about relationships and being single, all that stuff. Lonnie Harmon is with us. She's a licensed clinical social worker. She specializes in dating counseling, dating anxiety, all the things dating. Lonnie, dating's hard.
It is so hard.
I mean...
There's just, you want to give everybody a big hug around Valentine's Day. These people and, that hand out flowers and things, yes. I just think, good for you.
Good for you. It's tough. I remember my 20s, and man, I learned a lot. That's a good thing. But dating can be hard. So let's start with this. Let's start with advice for singles. How can we have a successful dating life when we're single, Lonnie?
I think the first thing you got to try to do is change the definition of what successful looks like. Because often we look at successful as we got married. And then we attach, the short or long length of time, just different meanings to the word successful. And I teach successful needs to be, we tried someone on for a fit and they did or did not fit. And if they didn't fit, we both agree. And we can send each other into the world with love and light and wish each other the best. And then move forward and lovingly get into another relationship.
Yeah. Well, I feel like also here in Utah, you have so much pressure because everybody's getting married, everyone's having kids, and everyone's doing it so young, it seems like. So you may fall into that and feel, oh, am I different? What's wrong with me?
Right. I think you look at every relationship as the one that could be the potential marriage, and that puts a lens of pressure on it that doesn't need to exist.
Yeah.
Whereas you could just go on a date and say, I enjoyed this date. I think I'd like to go on another date. But we evaluate someone for time and all eternity in the first couple of hours. Like, nobody's going to stand up for that.
It's not one person.
No, I think, and that's often, I think, where relationship anxiety comes from, because we deal with this level of uncertainty in dating, and it causes us to have a lot of like biological reactions with our body, feeling stress and feeling headaches, stomach aches. And so we interpret that as, oh, I'm not supposed to be with them. I would feel completely calm. I would feel completely comfortable if this was the person I was supposed to go out with again. And so we stop the process before it's really even going.
I really like how you term that relationship or dating anxiety, because that's a real thing.
It really is. We can have predispositions for anxiety due to like genetic factors or sometimes, environmental factors. But then it can attach in the dating situation where you freeze up. I can be this amazing professional at work, and I can be articulate and smart and get my company in the right direction. And then I can go on a date and they're like, what do you like to do for fun? And you're like, what should I say? What do you want me to like to do for fun?
See.
We kind of chameleonize ourselves or get caught in the, I really want you to like me, so I'm not sure what to say. And if I say who I really am, is that going to be appealing to you? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You get stuck.
Right. Speaking of dating, what do you think the biggest problem with Utah, like, is there a huge problem specifically you see with Utah daters?
There is. I love you all, but wow, it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess.
Sounds like my 20s.
Yes. Well, and to those of you in your 20s, you're in the hot mess.
Yeah, it's
and then
tough.
when you get to your 30s, they feel like it's a hotter mess. So I think that the problems that I'm seeing, number one, would be the scarcity mentality that's happening. People perpetuate this rumor of there's not enough people to date. And so you maybe hold on to a relationship that isn't the right fit for you for too long.
So you try to stick with it longer than maybe you should.
Yeah. Or you don't even try because the one person that you're interested has 4 or 5 people that are also interested. And so you're not going to step into the arena, as Brene Brown would say.
Right. Do you think that scarcity rumor, like, what is that? And do you think it is true? Is there any validity to it?
No, the statistics that I found say that there are, like, I've got it right here.
And that's basically saying that there are less women than men.
Yes. It says there are actually 1.2 single college-educated women between the ages of 31 to 45 for every single man in Utah. So 1.2 is not 4 or 5, And I think that when we get into that headspace, what we do is we then gather with other people who are frustrated and like-minded, and we kind of perpetuate this storytelling of how bad it is, and we perpetuate the story of how bad this date was and how bad this person was, and it just amplifies in our head to, it's not available for me, it's not going to happen for me, why bother? Give me the cat. I'm just going to go sit home. Maybe I should get another cat. I'm a cat lady.
I did have 2 cats in my 20s, so it's fine. What about the, like, girls who are friends versus girlfriends and boys who are friends versus boyfriends? It's a fine line, right?
Yes, this is another Utah unique piece of dating that I see. When a girl is interested in a man, she oftentimes won't come forward. She's not going to show her face, use her body language or anything to let him know that she's interested. She's a little bit nervous about that. And so she might take some time getting to know him, create a friendship with him. And then over time, as he reveals himself in those layers, she is just crushing really, really hard. And she's not sure what to say. I mean, this is Taylor Swift's albums. You know, like you can see
All
the
in her
evolution of
music.
dating.
Yeah.
I love T Swift.
We do love her, yeah.
But I think that the difference there is that when a man is interested in a woman romantically, up front, day one, he's going to be, oh, she is physically attractive to me. That's somebody that I could potentially date. And so if he's going to be spending time with her, it's with the intention to try to date her. He'll be patient if she doesn't want to yet, but he wants to date her. Versus a man who is platonic. He's genuine. He's caring. He genuinely wants to know about you, your life, but he's just your friend, and he's not going to date you. And suddenly you've developed a crush on him. And the bigger problem is the actual presence of that man in your life is going to block any other guys from coming forward.
Because that's where your focus is.
Yeah, because bros have this code, like, oh, there's a man there, I'm going to give him his space.
Okay.
Whereas girls, we don't operate with that same code.
Yeah.
We're just like, who are you talking to? Why aren't you talking to me?
Why aren't you
and we
talking
just
to
have
me?
this whole party in our head with the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think it's possible to be friends with like the opposite sex?
I do think it's possible to be friends, but I think you have to honor the relationship statuses that your friends are.
Yeah.
And so if they're in a relationship, I think you need to be friends with both people.
That's a very good point.
So if it's a friendship that you've had before you are now in a relationship, potentially maybe even it's even now we're in a group text together, or now we're all going to dinner together, because I think exclusively one-on-one, our brains are a little bit hardwired for jealousy, and the inverse of jealousy is, well, I want you to trust me at all times and all things. Humans, we can be risky.
Yeah.
And that's just our nature. It's not necessarily our intention to be that way, but I think just when your partner's looking for security, offer that.
What advice would you have for someone that maybe is interested in somebody, but they just kind of seem, I'll get a hold of you when I can, or, they're busy, but you can't seem to get the communication of whether you think they're interested, but you don't know. What do we do at that point?
I think that building that relationship takes time, in face-to-face time.
Yeah.
We often try to build a relationship over social media or maybe through texting in ways, and so that's why it's not building. You need FaceTime, and you need shared experiences together. I think if you can't get in close proximity to that person and spend time with them, and they're not interested in having you in that space, then I lovingly let them go.
It's so true.
You're not going to be a fit for everyone, and I think we're supposed to be like, everyone should be attracted to me.
And you take it personally if they're not. That goes into my second, or one of my, whether this is third, fourth, fifth question. I'm not sure how many I've asked you by now. But so in my 20s, I did this a lot, where I would date people and I would make excuses. If they weren't interested, I would make excuses that, they just got out of a relationship, so they're probably not looking for anything serious now. Or, they're just scared. Or you make so many excuses when it really comes down to this, and I wish I knew this in my 20s, they're just not that into you.
Oh, my glory. You are so right. They aren't.
And it hurts.
It does hurt, and you can kind of let that hit you, wallow for a little bit, have some ice cream days. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to just jump back out there immediately. But then also, if they're not that into you, it's just one person. It's not a reflection of the fact that you are completely unattractive to everybody. We need to remember that we're not supposed to be a fit for everyone. Are you attracted to everyone? Do you want to date everyone?
That's true.
No. So why should everyone want to date you?
That's very true. Because we keep telling ourselves, these lies. And it's like, no one really, if somebody was interested in you, you would know. You're not going to be confused. You would know, and they would make time for you, and, they would find you wherever. So I think a lot of it is like, maybe they lost my number. Oh, they can't, they can't find me because I moved, or no, they'll find you.
Oh my gosh, I could tell you story after story. Before I had skills of I literally put my phone number on some guy's car on a Post-it note, because I was like, for sure he lost it. For sure he did.
Yeah.
And when he didn't call me, I was shocked.
Oh, you guys had dated or something, and then you kind of stopped hearing from him? Or
Dated. Dated in Utah is a really relative term.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
There's a space called we investigate each other for a long period of time, and then we might spend one-on-one time together. But getting to a date where they call it a date and someone pays for dinner, that takes some time.
That takes some time. So you put your number on his car.
I so did.
What happened?
Nothing.
He never called.
He never called.
Okay.
And in fact, from that point on, whenever we would happen to be in the same place to run into each other, he went the other way.
Yeah.
And it was so painful to me because I knew what I had to offer, and I kept thinking, well, if he only knew me, this was going to work out. And he's not the first guy I did that for. Mm-hmm. But what ended up happening is what led me into this career was just deep dive into the research and figure out what's an appropriate way to let someone know you're interested without leaving yourself open like you're frying in the sun, just hurting.
What is the appropriate way?
What I should have done is actually spoken with him face to face.
Just been like super direct?
Well, created some time to create conversations and to find something that we had to talk about, some common interests or something that was going on, and understand that if he wants to spend time with me and I want to spend time with him, we have to create an opportunity to do that. And if I'm not going to be brave and say, would you like to get together sometime to get to know each other, and just start declare it that way, and he's not going to be, stop worrying about it. Let it go.
Yeah, let it go. Mm-hmm. What advice, Lonnie, would you have for somebody who has maybe been dating someone for a minute, and it's not really going where you want it to go, and you seem to be communicating that, but there's a lot of excuses on the other end? What do you say to that?
I think that that marriage and the choice to marry and make that transition is about both people being ready to make that transition.
Yeah.
And I think it requires both people being honest with where they're at and not placating the other person because they don't want to be alone. And that is a tricky space to be, but people often tell you where they're at and we don't believe them. We think, well, I think that I could change them, or I think if I waited this much longer.
We do. Why do we feel like we can change people?
I think
we do that.
There's this part of humans that we have hope. We carry hope for the future, for people around us, and I think especially as women, we are really nurturing, and we kind of cultivate that relationship house where we're like, oh, it's going to be so pretty, and I'm going to decorate it this way, and we imagine how it's going to be, and we see the potential in our partner, and we think, oh, they just need more time.
They just need time. They'll get it. They'll wake up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think and I am no one to give advice to, anyone dating like you are, but I just, if there's an experience like I had in my 20s and you're constantly giving excuses, don't do it. And really don't take it personally. Try not to, because you're amazing. You are incredible just the way that you are, and you don't need to change for somebody.
No, in fact, attachment's only going to happen if you are who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And just because one person maybe, is not interested, that's okay. Their loss.
It is.
Move forward. There will be that right person, just don't waste that time is like advice I would give somebody. What do you think about, we like to be mysterious.
Yes.
We were talking a little bit about that. Yeah. Do we do that in Utah?
Yes. I think that with the advent of social media, it's created a lot of space for us to be mysterious about our availability for dating. So, for example, a woman could say, oh, I'm really interested in this man, and I'm going to work on asking him to get to know him better or whatever, but then she sees something on his Instagram or she sees something somewhere and she's just, oh, I can't. He's dating someone.
Yeah.
But is he? No. I don't know, because then a couple days later, there's a different person. Or there's a group of friends, or there's this, or there's that. I mean, gone are the days when you changed your Facebook status and it was at least clear then, or complicated. It's complicated.
Do people not do that anymore?
No, I don't see any statuses change.
Yeah, because it used to be it's complicated in a relationship, not
Right?
Single, whatever.
Well, I think some of the generation has gotten off Facebook and now they're on Instagram, and maybe we just need to ask Instagram to add that feature.
That's true. Oh boy, that opens up a whole new can of worms on Instagram. It could get real interesting. Well, that's maybe just be more direct.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to say to someone, are you available, or are you exclusively dating someone? That's part of the other. I guess I want to just lovingly say at Utah, like, you can get to the exclusive stage of dating, which means that you're not dating anyone else and neither is your partner, and that's age appropriate.
It's okay.
It's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
And telling people that you're not available for a date shouldn't give you a ton of anxiety, because you're building the best part of a relationship with somebody else. They have that whole FOMO, fear of missing out, like, well, they asked me out, so maybe I'm supposed to go out with them. Like, you actually get to choose with your own brain and heart.
Believe it or not.
Go out with them.
Believe it or not, you do. Do you have any advice for somebody who wants to ask someone out, but is so nervous to be turned down or for whatever reason, and that's valid. Do you have any advice for that situation?
Yeah, I think I would just encourage them to say or to think to themselves, I am not asking out my future spouse.
Oh, that's good.
I am asking to see if we could get to know each other better, and I'm asking to see if we have things in common.
That gives you a lot less pressure.
Because if they reject you and they're not interested in getting to know things you have in common, it doesn't necessarily feel like you've built this in your head and now I'm not marriage material for anybody.
That is relationship gold advice right there. Don't think that I love that. Don't think that you're asking out. Because if you picture that, there's so much pressure that if it doesn't work and they turn you down, it's the end of the world. But just see it as like, someone you want to go hang out with, get to know.
I do want to throw a caveat in though. Like, let's stop taking people for ice cream and Jamba Juice. Like, create an atmosphere where they can open up. Because I'm sorry, but at Jamba Juice, when those blenders are going, I'm not going to be like, yes, I really like all these things. And
you're yelling at each other,
Exactly.
basically.
And it's like, I love you, $3.95 for 30 minutes. And I get that we are kind of trying to do this streamline thing, but I mean, come on.
Just get a little more creative.
Yeah,
and when you're asking someone
create
out.
a space where I can open up.
Where you can chat, get to know each other. Okay, Lonnie, what if you were already in a relationship? These are for people who have been maybe married or, you're in a relationship for a little while. Miscommunication. It's really tough once you're with someone for a long time. How do we better communicate with our partners?
I think the first thing you have to remember is that you as an individual need to take responsibility for your stuff. We spend a lot of time miscommunicating because we're deflecting. We're not taking responsibility because it's hurtful when you're with someone and they actually see you and your flaws. So it's this extreme of, I don't want this and you give that and you take this. If we take responsibility, then it can de-escalate the situation. Our opportunity when we talk with our partner is to connect with them. We're not here to just say, you have to hear and validate and listen to every single point that I have and agree with me.
Yeah.
No, I want to connect with you. The point of me talking with you about how I want to go on a date is because I actually miss you. And now we're fighting about the fact that I miss you. That seems really off.
Right. Doesn't really make sense. And I think you have to make time for each other. You still have to date your person, right? And ask them out.
Yes. And asking them out, I think, can kind of happen in ways throughout the day. We don't, when we're dating, we sometimes look at each other's like, what are you going to eat? And do you need help with your laundry this weekend? Or some of these things as time spent together, and we create that partnership. But when we're married, we're off doing sometimes our own individual things.
Yeah.
I really like to check in, and I love it when my husband will check in and be like, did you get some food? Can I get you something to eat today?
Oh,
like,
that's the best.
These little sweet things are like, hey, let me change the laundry. Because that to me is like courtship through the week that makes me want to go on a date with you on the weekend.
Yeah. Quickly, I wanted to ask you too, we didn't even cover this. I'm just going to throw this at you. Online dating.
Oh, girl.
It wasn't even really a thing when I was in my 20s, when you're in your 20s, right?
Yeah.
So it's everywhere now, obviously, and everything is technology. So is it a go or a no? What do you think?
I totally think it's a go, but I think that you have to remember that these people are strangers. And when you're taking somebody from being a stranger to an acquaintance, there's protocol. When you're taking somebody from being an acquaintance to a casual friend, there's protocol. And if we're going to open up too much too soon, that's dangerous. And I think, again, FaceTime. You can do actual FaceTime. You can do a virtual date. You don't have to necessarily meet in person if you're nervous.
It's a good idea.
I have a lot of clients that are doing that, especially with COVID restrictions. And so a social distance walk has become a thing.
Great. Wait, what do you do? Like side by side with your phone? You just go on a walk or something?
Yes, if you are virtual, or potentially if you're actually going to meet up, but you're nervous about COVID protocols or where they're at, you walk 6 feet apart from each other.
Okay. I mean, whatever works. Right. No judgment. Whatever works.
Yeah.
We're all trying to get to that, point where we want to find that person. And if that's what it takes, great.
Yeah, I think it's an introduction, online media or social media. Sorry. I think that the online dating is an introduction, and it's not how we get to know each other and how we date each other.
Okay. Just be cautious. Just take the steps. Okay, we like to end our interviews with what we call our Fresh 5. So I'm going to throw these 5 quick questions at you. We want to get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay, Lonnie, favorite holiday?
Christmas for sure. 4th of July, 2nd.
Same girl, same. Best gift you've ever received?
Oh, my engagement ring.
Oh,
so pretty.
How long have you been married?
10 years this spring.
Congrats to that.
Thank you.
Cheers. That's amazing. Who is someone you would love to have coffee with?
Jane Austen, but it'd be Diet Cokes.
Love
Honestly,
it.
I probably would have Diet Cokes with anybody because I love
Great.
it, but I would love to just pick her brain and see what it's like to be a woman in that era. And this whole, like, going back to that introduction piece,
Yeah.
that's like half her books.
Well, Diet Coke with Jane Austen. I
Oh,
mean, that's
right.
something to live up to. I love that. Favorite place to travel?
Oh, Europe. I love Europe.
Europe.
But I think if I'm going local, which is obviously my favorite, I'm going to go Disneyland.
Disneyland.
And then I'm going to go to Lake Powell, and then I'm just going to go back and forth
That's fine.
between those two
We're big
places.
Disney fans over here,
Oh, I
so
love
we
Disney.
get it. What TV show would you love to make a cameo on?
The Bachelor or The Bachelor, but specifically The Bachelor because I feel like those episodes are more of a hot mess.
They need you.
I really just want to, like, sometimes have a little, like, she's going to need a 5-minute hug.
Yeah.
And you're going to need to restate that question in an appropriate way.
Maybe we can reach out to them and say, look, you need Lonnie Harmon in your
I
life.
would love that.
You need that in your life. I love it. Lonnie, if we want to follow you, what's the best place to do that?
I am on Instagram at The Dating Counselor. I'm on Facebook at The Dating Counselor. And I have a podcast on all the podcast platforms called The Dating Counselor.
I love it. We've learned so much from you today. Will you come back?
Oh, I would love to.
Because we could talk about this, dating and
Forever.
everything forever.
Forever and ever.
Love is in the air. So do you have any Valentine's plans? You do anything fun?
We are. We're going to go to a comedy show and do an overnight.
Oh, that's fun.
I'm so excited.
I love it. Well, happy Valentine's Day early
Thank
to you
you.
guys.
You
That's amazing.
too.
I love it. And thank you for being here, Lonnie. We've learned so much from you. You're awesome.
Thank you for having me.
You're awesome. And once again, you can listen to our Fresh Off the Set on many platforms. And please rate, review, and subscribe when you can. We would appreciate it. Thank you for listening today. And we will see you next week. Congrats, you made it to the end. If you want to continue to freshen up your day, you can watch us on Fresh Living every weekday on CBS Channel 2 in Utah at 1 o'clock. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel, KUTV Fresh Living, and follow us on social media. We will see you next week.